Today, folks, we're going to be talking about my food and what's in my food bag for my 8-day backcountry hunt, so stay tuned. Alright, so since we're in bear country, and we will be, grizzly bear country that is, and we will be hanging our food, I went ahead and got a 20-liter ultra dry bag. It's called the Sea to Summit Ultra Sil dry bag, and it is 1.8 ounces for the 20-liter, and it holds up to the weight of this very nicely, and it has extra room in the top for my cookware, which is my Sea to Summit, titanium spork, real light spork, and my jet boil, and my 110-gram butane fuel canister. So it has all that space for this. And I'll go ahead and take you through what I have in here and why I chose the amount of fuel for what I have and all that sort of stuff. So let's go ahead and jump into this. Alright, so basically there is two different styles of food packages that I created. It is very similar, but there's two items in each of these packs that are different, and it's exactly 4 one way and 4 the other way. That just provides a little bit of variety for what I'm doing, and each of the peaks are different as well. There's 4 peaks in total, and I bought 2 of them each, so that makes 8, and I just separated them into different pouches, and each night I'll grab a different one, trying to spice things up and keep some variety so I don't get wore out of the meals that I have each night. Alright, so let's go ahead and dissect this first one. As I pull this stuff out, I'll just kind of name it off, and what we got here is 2 bacon ranch tuna packets from StarKist. You see these everywhere. This adds well-needed protein while you're up in the mountains, as well as I like it. I think it's good, and it adds some calories too. It's not really high in density of calories per ounce, but it does. I find that it adds that protein that I need in those mountains, so I do greatly enjoy this. Next up, we have 2 peanut butter chocolate builders bars. These are from Cliff Bar, and they have 20 grams of protein in each one and 290 calories in each one. So these really supplement me throughout the day. Both of these items, as you see, are no boil, so I can snack on them throughout the day without really having to sit down and figuring out my boiling procedures. Early in the morning, I will have a packet of the Kodiak oatmeal. This is the Kodiak brand that makes protein waffles, protein pancakes. I went ahead and got their protein oatmeal. This is maple and brown sugar, just a great flavor. I already had some of it and tried it, and it worked real well. So I really like this stuff, and I'm going to be making a hot meal in the morning just to kind of get me started from those cold mornings. To add to this, I am going to add 3 nut butter packets. I really like these nut butters. You got to make sure that you really push on them and mix them well. Mix the oil with the peanut butter at the bottom real well so it comes out good. But each one of these is 1.13 ounces, and it has 180 calories per little container. So if I get 3 of them, I'm really bumping up the calories. Not to mention it has proteins in it, which is also very important. And this stuff would just kind of be ate along with the oatmeal itself. This oatmeal, what I have figured out you can do, which most people know, is you can boil about 1/3 of a cup of water out of your jet boil, out of your BRS, out of your pocket rocket, whatever you have. You can boil 1/3 cup of water and pour it in this, kind of mix it up and let it sit for 3 to 5 minutes, and that will fully cook your oatmeal, so you don't have to worry about cleaning out your pot, your jet boil pot or your titanium pot, whatever it might be. You don't really have to worry about cleaning that out. You can have another side compartment, and it is important to note that the jet boil flash, which I have, has a little plastic piece that covers the bottom where the actual igniter and fuel burner actually hook to the pot. It has a little plastic piece that can be used for a bowl, and that's what I will use to make this, because it's easier to clean because it doesn't have the deep sides, and I really like that idea. And 1/3 of a cup of water does not take long to boil at all, so I'm not really worried about using too much fuel for that burn. And then of course these, you can snack on these throughout the day, in the morning, whenever you really feel like you want one of these nut butters. I have 3 ounces of lightly salted almonds. 3 ounces come out to, I think, 510 calories. Not to mention it has about 18 grams of protein and 18 grams of carbs. A very, very good little snack to have. I got these just so I could snack kind of on the trail whenever I need a little pick-me-up. But this little package right here, just 3 ounces, adds 510 calories. And the reason I got these is because I took out my pasta that was going to be the midday lunch, and I wanted to replace it with something a lot better for you, like these almonds, and I didn't want to use up any extra fuel in my fuel canister, so I could go with the smallest fuel canister possible. And so I went ahead and cut out that lunch boil, and I just replaced it with nuts and an extra Cliff Bar, and that's going to really take care of me throughout the lunchtime period. Now, at night, I have a Peak Refuel meal. This one is the cheesy chicken broccoli. This one comes in at 1,090 calories for this whole thing right here, and it is 6.7 ounces. They're a little bit heavier than the other ones on the market, but they just have such a high calorie content that it's hard to pass up these. You get everything you need to in a night meal. So I just cook up one of these at night with that many calories. It's just good for one whole meal before you go to bed. And this doesn't take as much to rehydrate. So it says in the back, pour a 1 1/3 cup of boiling water in the back of this. That's 10 ounces of water instead of 2 cups of water, which is it's a big deal when you consider how much fuel you're going to burn in your canister. And it's a big deal, just the amount of time it takes to get that to a boil. The 2 cups of water has more boiling time just because it has to warm up more water than what it would than this. So I tend to run this little setup right here. It's not too terribly much food if you lay it out. It's just a handful of stuff, but it comes out to right at 3,000 calories. I think exactly it's 3,030 calories, and it's coming in at 1.625 pounds per day, and we have 8 days of this, so the total weight is 13 pounds. And I don't find this little setup bad at all. Now, why I picked the 110 canister over the 250 canister that you can get at Walmart is the 110 can nest inside of my JetBoil flash, so it makes it just one whole unit to pull out of my bag, so I don't have to worry about fumbling for the canister itself. And since I cut out the unnecessary boils, I was able to use that fuel more efficiently. So in 8 days I'm going to be able to get 8 days worth of fuel out of that one canister. One thing that I did have in here that I took out is I took out the pasta, and I had something else I took out. I took out instant mashed potatoes, and I was going to have that in my peak refuels at night to add an extra 440 calories, but just with the calorie denseness that this peak refuel is, I decided against that. And when I did that, I took it out of all 8 days. That saved me 2 pounds, and it saved me 2 cups of water that I have to boil extra for those to rehydrate. So I took those out because I didn't think that it was needed. And now that I have all of this stuff here, I really am happy with this setup. All I have to do is a boil in the morning to wake me up, get me some oatmeal, and then a boil at night. So those aren't really cutting into my day too much. In the future, I might go totally stoveless, but that is down the ways a bit. I only look at that because I can shave even more pounds off of my food, and I can also shave a pound out of my cook system. So I might look at going totally stoveless, and that would be a pretty cool system, but this is kind of what I'm running right now. Alright, to finish things off, I'm going to list off how many calories this is for 1 day of food, as well as how many grams of protein, carbs, and fats this is for 1 day of food. And that's basically the main things that you want to know going in is, do you have enough of these nutrients to help your body on the mountain and sustain itself? So to run through this and say it one more time, I have 3,030 calories in this 1 day meal. So for 1 day, I have 3,030 calories coming in at about 1.625 pounds per day, which for 8 days makes 13 pounds. Now, for proteins, this comes in at 179 grams of protein. That is very important to me specifically. I wanted to have real high protein to be able to maintain the muscle repairs that are going on throughout the night when you rest, and to really fix up those muscles that you will be straining all day, every day while you're on the mountain, just by going up, just by having a pack on. That's going to really help maintain your body and give it what it needs to really repair those muscles. For carbs, this is coming in at 198 grams of carbs. I didn't want anything too high in carbs. I really would like it a lot lower than what it is now, but just given what we're doing, that is really hard to do and keep a lightweight model for all of this. But I have really low carbs for this backcountry setup because I'm currently running a high fat and protein diet, and the goal is to use the fat as my fuel source in my body instead of the carbs, so I have that longer endurance, so I don't have to eat necessarily as much. Like I said, there's not that much food on here, but it will last me a long time. So I'm not just having highs and lows really quickly, but instead that fat will be used as a fuel source to let me have that endurance on the mountain. So that is the goal. So I tried to pick something a lot lower in carbs so it would transition to from my diet now. Now, to put it in perspective, I'm only eating 30 carbs a day now, and I'm eating close to 230 grams of protein and 180 some odd grams of fats each day, sometimes less, sometimes more in the fat department, but the protein generally stays the same. So I'm really trying to push something that will just seamlessly flow into what I'm eating on the mountain. Now, for fats, this comes in at 179.5 grams of fat for this whole system, which is insane. That's a lot of fats. fat has more calories than proteins or than carbs, and I think that's why you're seeing the fat content so high, is because we wanted to have just such a high caloric intake for as little food as we possibly could have. So that is basically the system, and I think that it's going to transfer really well, and I think my body is going to take this food very easily up on the mountain, and that it'll help us push and be the best version of ourselves that we can be on that mountain. So without further ado, that is it. That is my food system, my fuel system for my body, and I hope you guys kind of learned something out of this, that you don't have to have real heavy food day bags or whatever for each day. You can have something real light but yet still have a good amount of calories, that being, you know, in the 3,000 range, which will really help you out on the mountain from what I've read. So that's all I got for today, and I hope you enjoyed this video. We are 6.8 weeks away from my elk trip, so I'm getting really jacked, and I got all my gear now. Now it's just playing the waiting game, and hopefully we get on some elk out there, and hopefully we have a good time and you guys enjoy watching it. So I'll see you on the next one. Don't forget to go to the Instagram, give it a follow, hit the DMs, look up some of the Big Money merch, and go ahead and get yourself some of that. So thank y'all for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.